Hello, good morning. Let us start our revision relating to direct tax, basic introduction to direct tax. So, when we discuss about direct tax, sorry, when we discuss about direct tax, first we will look at the definitions. Every act will have definitions. Definitions are mentioned in section 2 of the Income Tax Act 1961. So, as per when we come to the definitions of the income tax, we will first come to the definition of assessee. Assessee definition has been defined under section 2 subsection 7 of the Income Tax Act 1961. What is the definition of assessee? Assessee means any person who is paying the tax to the government is called as assessee, and it also includes any person whose proceedings has been taken for assessment for the previous year is considered as assessee. Here, assessment relating to income or assessment relating to income of any other person where he is going to be questioned, or it can be assessment relating to any refund that is liable to be paid to the assessee or any other person, or it can be relating to any demanded from the assessee or any other person. So this is the definition of assessee, and it also includes what? It also includes an assessee who is deemed to be assessee in case of default, or an assessee who is deemed to be assessee in case of default, or it also includes assessee who is deemed to be an assessee. So this is the definition of assessee. Now we will discuss about the definition of assessment. Assessment definition has been given under section 2 subsection 8 of the Income Tax Act 1961. What is the definition of assessment? Assessment means an assessment that is carried out by the assessing officer in order to estimate the total income or determine the total income of the assessee in the previous year. Here, assessment can be of various types. Those are, first one is self-assessment tax. Section 140 subsection 3 deals with self-assessment tax. Second one is summary assessment. Summary assessment has been defined under section 143 subsection 1 of Income Tax Act 1961. Third one is scrutiny assessment. Scrutiny assessment has been defined under section 143 subsection 3. Fourth one is best judgment assessment. Best judgment assessment has been defined under section 144. Next, fifth one is reassessment. Reassessment is also called as income escaping assessment, has been defined under section 147. Now, this is the definition of assessment. Third one is the definition of India, or the definition of person. Person definition has been defined under section 2 subsection 31 of the Income Tax Act 1961. What is the definition of person? Person includes individual, HUF, AOP, association of persons, BOI means body of individuals, so artificial judicial person, whether incorporated or not. It also includes company, it also includes partnership firm, it also includes limited liability partnership, it also includes LLP, local authority. Local authority will be included in the definition of person. Person definition will not include branch, it does not include license office, it does not include any other representational officers of the assessee of the non-resident in the country, in the host country. Definition of person we have seen. Now, what is the definition of India? India definition has been defined under 2 subsection 25 capital A of the Income Tax Act 1961. What is the definition of India? India includes territory of India, has been defined given under Article 1 of the Constitution of India, and it also includes territorial waters, seabed, subsoil underlying the water. It also includes exclusive economic zone, specified maritime zone, exclusive economic zone, continental shelf, and any other maritime zone has been given under Maritime Zones Act 1976. That is, exclusive economic zone, continental shelf, territorial waters, or any other maritime zone that has been given under Maritime Zones Act 1976. It also includes airspace above the territorial waters and territory of India territory of India. This is the definition of India. Now, what is the definition of previous year? Previous year means any year preceding the assessment year is previous year. If the company or if the entity is incorporated in the year itself or in the financial year itself, then the previous year starts from the date on which the company commences its business and ends with 31st March of the assessment of that year. What is assessment year? Assessment year is the year other than previous year is assessment year, and it starts from 1st April of the following year following the previous year, and it ends with 12 months. It has a duration of 12 months. Every assessment year is having the duration of 12 months, but the previous year can have the duration less than 12 months also if the company has incorporated in the middle or in the beginning or in the middle or in the end of the previous year. Now, what is the definition of what is the definition of we have seen the definition of assessee, we have seen the definition of previous year, we have seen the definition of assessment year, we have seen the definition of India, we have seen the definition of assessment. These are some important definitions relating to Income Tax Act 1961. What is the definition of company? Company includes two categories of companies: domestic companies and foreign companies. Domestic companies will include companies which are incorporated in the India in the Companies Act 2013, and it also includes companies which have make arrangements for declaration of dividend or called as domestic companies. So, foreign company means foreign company other than domestic company is foreign company, means it's a foreign company. Next. Now we will discuss about, we have seen all these definitions, then we will come to the rates of Income Tax Act. Here the rates of Income Tax Act has been provided. This rates of income tax includes rates relating to individual, HUF, AOP, BOA, artificial judicial person, and it also includes rates relating to company, partnership firm, association of person, partnership firm, LLP, local authority, and it also LLP, local authority, and any other, and rates relating to all these categories. First, we will discuss about the income tax that are rates of tax relating to individual, HUF, AOP, BOA, artificial judicial person. So, in case of individual age is less than or equal to 60 years. What are the income tax rates? And for HUF, AOP, BOA, individual and HUF less than or equal to 60 years of age, what are the rates that are applicable? And for HUF, AOP, BOA, artificial judicial person, whether incorporated or not, whether it can be a resident or non-resident, means an individual can be a resident or non-resident, or HUF can be resident or non-resident, or association of persons, body of individuals, or artificial judicial person can be either resident or non-resident. If the total income, what is the definition of total income? Total income has been defined under the Income Tax Act 1961. Total income means the income that has been determined the end by the assessee during the previous year is total income. So, what is the definition of income? Income has been defined under the Income Tax Act. Income includes all types of income. So, it consists of some 18 to 19 categories of income. So, will come under the definition of income. Now, here resident or non-resident. Here resident. What is the definition? What is meant by resident? What is meant by non-resident? Here, resident has been, in order to determine a person is resident or non-resident, we have to go to section 6. Section 6 has defined the residential status of the individual. As per section 6 subsection 1, residential status of individual, a person can be a person who has been stayed in India or who has been stayed in India for a period of more than or equal to 192 days during the previous year. If he satisfied the condition, then he is said to be considered as resident, or a person who has stayed in India for a period of more than or equal to 60 years for a period of 60 days in the previous year, and condition, it is not or condition, it is unconditioned, and he has stayed in India for a period of 365 days in the preceding preceding the previous year in which he has been in preceding the relevant previous year. If these two conditions cumulatively has been satisfied, then also a person can be considered as a resident. Here, this 60 days rule condition is not applicable. Exception to section 6 subsection 1. What is exception to section 6 subsection 1? Exception to section 6 subsection 1. This 60 days rule is not applicable in case of three categories. First one is a person who has been a person who is the member of crew of the Indian ship for leaving India. in that situation, section 60 days rule is not applicable. Means in that second category of exception is a person who has been living India for the purpose of taking employment outside India. Then in that situation also the person cannot be considered as a resident. The person 60 days rule is not applicable to him. Or a person who has been outside India, who is an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin who has been outside India, who has come to visit to India during the previous year, and his total income other than income from foreign sources is up to 15 lakh rupees during the previous year, then for him also 60 days rule is not applicable. Means for all these three category of persons which has been mentioned in the exception to section 6 subsection 1, see for these three category of conditions, section 60 days rule is not applicable. Means for this category of conditions, if a person who has been stayed in India for a period of more than or equal to 182 days during the previous year, then the person can be a resident. Otherwise, the person can be a non-resident. Means if these three category of persons has stayed in India for a period of more than or equal to 60 days, more than or equal to 182 days during the previous year, then they will be considered as resident. Otherwise, they will not be considered as resident. They will straight away considered as non-resident. There is no resident and ordinary resident category for this category of individuals. Next, a resident can be a resident and ordinary resident but not ordinary resident. When person said to be resident and ordinary resident, a person said to be resident and ordinarily resident if the person has satisfied two conditions cumulatively. What are the two conditions? Additional conditions A1 and A2. A1 condition is what? A1 condition is a person is resident in 2 out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year, and a person who has stayed in India for a period of 730 days or more during the 7 preceding previous years preceding the relevant previous year. If two conditions are satisfied cumulatively, then the person is said to be a resident and ordinary resident. If any one condition is not satisfied, or any A1 is satisfied, A2 is not satisfied, or A2 is satisfied, A1 is not satisfied, or A2 A1 is not satisfied, then in these three category of situations, the person is said to be resident but not ordinarily resident. Resident but not ordinary resident, and a person can be a resident but not ordinary resident will also include two other categories of persons. So a person who is deemed resident that has been defined under section 6 subsection 1 capital A of Income Tax Act 1961, then also the person is resident but not ordinary resident. And the person who has been an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin who has left outside India, who is living outside India, who has come to visit to India during the previous year, and his total income other than income from foreign sources is less than or equal to 15 is greater than or equal to 15 lakh rupees during the previous year, then the person is said to be resident but not ordinary resident for the purpose of Income Tax Act 1961. Next category is what? Next category is non-resident. Non-resident means if the person has not satisfied B1 and B2 conditions, then the person B1 or B2 conditions, then the person is said to be straight away non-resident. Next, what is the scope of what is the taxability in respect of resident and ordinary resident but not ordinary resident, non-resident? In case of resident and ordinary resident, if the income that is arising for the resident or ordinary resident, either it can be from income from domestic sources or income from foreign sources. So global income is taxable in case of resident and ordinary resident. It can be in respect of individual, means an individual who is considered as resident and ordinary resident, Indian income is taxable. What is Indian income? What is foreign income? Indian income has been defined under scope of total income. Indian income will include income that accrues or arises in India, income accrued or arise in India, income deemed to accrue or arise in India, or income accrue or arise outside India but received in India, income deemed to accrue or arise outside India but receive, income deemed to accrue or arise in India but received outside India. All this category of persons comes under, all this category of conditions comes under the definition of Indian income. Next, what is foreign income? Foreign income means income deemed to accrue or arise outside India and received outside India, and it also includes income which is not accrue or arise from India. These two category of incomes comes under non-resident foreign income. Now, in respect of resident and ordinary resident, Indian income and foreign income is taxable, global income is taxable. In respect of resident and ordinary resident, only Indian income is taxable, and also foreign income, that foreign income which accrue or arises in India is taxable. Means foreign Indian income, that is the income that is arising from the company that is established in India, or a company that is established in India, or it also includes a company that is company that is controlled from India, or a professional that is established in India or set up in India. Whatever the income that is arising from these category of conditions also, it will be included in that. It will be taxable in the hands of resident but not ordinary resident. What is in case in respect of non-resident? In respect of non-resident, only Indian income is taxable. Foreign income is exempt. Foreign income is not taxable for non-resident category of persons. Now we will shift to the definition of deemed resident. Deemed resident has been defined under section 6 subsection 1 capital A of Income Tax Act 1961. What is the definition of deemed resident? Deemed resident means a person, Indian citizen or person of Indian origin who has been outside India, who has come to visit to India during the previous year, and his total income other than income from foreign sources, that is income that does not accrue or arises from India, or deemed to accrue or arises from India, or received outside India, then these two category of items will be included in foreign income. Other than income from foreign sources is exceeding 15 lakh rupees during the previous year, and he is not liable to tax. He is deemed to be a resident. He is deemed to be a resident as per section 6 subsection 1 capital A of the Income Tax Act 1961. If he is not liable, if he is not liable to pay tax, in any other country due to his domicile, or due to his residence, or due to any other conditions that have been specified, then the person is said to be deemed resident as per section 6 subsection 1 capital A of Income Tax Act 1961. This is deemed resident concept. If the deemed resident is always resident but not ordinary resident. In case of deemed resident category, only Indian income is taxable. Foreign income is not taxable. Indian income is taxable, and foreign income is taxable, and some part of Indian income is taxable. Indian income is taxable, and some part of foreign income is taxable. Indian income is what? Indian income is income that is accrue or arises in India, income that deemed to accrue or arises in India, income that accrue or arises outside India but received in India, income that is deemed to accrue or arise in India but received outside India. All this category of incomes comes under the definition of Indian income. What is the definition of? And some part of foreign income is what? Some part of foreign income is a foreign income that accrue or arises in India due to or receive accrue or arises in India, deemed to accrue or arises in India, accrue or arises outside India, received in India, or accrue or arises outside India, received outside India, or accrue or arises in India but received outside India. This category of income. So if these incomes are arising from a business that is controlled from India, or profession that is set up in India, then in this category of these incomes will be taxable in the case of resident but not ordinary resident. What is the definition of resident but not ordinary resident? Now we will shift to the definition. We will shift to the category of section 6 subsection 3. Section 6 subsection 3 has been defined relating to residential status of whom? Residential status of HEF can be a resident, or it can be a non-resident. Resident, it can be non-resident. HEF can be resident if the control and management wholly or partly is carried out from in India. If the control and management is wholly or partly carried out in India, then he is considered as resident. And in order to be resident and ordinary resident, or resident but not ordinary resident, first we have to look at section additional conditions. That is, if Karta of the HEF is if the Karta of HEF satisfies both A1 and A2 conditions, then he will be resident but not resident and ordinary resident. HEF is resident and ordinary resident. If the Karta of the HEF has not satisfied any one of the conditions, or not satisfied only one condition, additional condition, so then HEF is considered as resident but not ordinary resident. So what are the additional conditions that are applicable to Karta? Obviously we have seen if the Karta has been resident in two previous years preceding the out of 10 previous years preceding the previous year, relevant previous year, if A1 condition is satisfied, and A2 condition is a Karta has stayed in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. If A1 and A2 conditions, both conditions are satisfied, then the person is said to be resident and ordinary resident. HEF is said to be resident and ordinary resident. If the HEF is resident and ordinary resident, Indian income and foreign income, global income is taxable. If Karta has satisfied A1 but not satisfied A2, or has satisfied A2 but not satisfied A1, or has not satisfied A1 and A2 conditions, then Karta is said to be, or karta is said to be resident but not honorary resident. In case of resident and but not honorary resident, Indian income is taxable. Obviously, Indian income is taxable, and some part of foreign income is taxable. Foreign income is what? Foreign income, that means the income that is accrue or arising from the business that is controlled from India, or profession that has been set in India. Then this income is taxable in case of resident but not honorary resident. HUF is said to be resident but not honorary resident. Then if the control or management of affairs of the Hindu undivided family has not been carried out from India, then in that situations HUF is considered as non-resident. In case of HUF is considered as non-resident, only Indian income is taxable, foreign income is not taxable. So in order to retain the status of Hindu undivided family, there is no need that more number of male members should be present in HUF. If there is one male member if there is one male member present in HUF and all other female members, then also it can retain the status of HUF. It can retain the status of HUF. It has been given. It has been given specifically. This in the one of the judgment of Supreme Court. The one of the judgment of Supreme Court, that is Bhuo Buddhana case, Supreme Court judgment. Now we will go to the residential. Section 6 subsection 4 has been defined residential status of what? Residential status of company or any other person. Residential status of any other person. No? Here this is divided into two categories. First category, second category. First category is what? Resident. Second category is non-resident. A person, any other person can be a resident. It can be non-resident. It can be if it is resident. In order to make this as resident, what are the conditions that need to be satisfied? The conditions that need to be satisfied are, first one is it has to. First condition that need to be satisfied is if control or management of affairs of the company is carried out from India, or place of effective management. Place of poem is in India or not. Poem is place of effective management is in India. If it is in India, then it is said to be resident. Resident. If it is resident, global income is taxable, Indian income and foreign income is taxable. If the poem is not in India, then it is said to be non-resident. In the case of non-resident, only Indian income is taxable, foreign income is not taxable. Now we will go to the definition. What is the definition of scope of total income? Scope of total income includes, obviously we have seen under section 7, scope of total income includes two categories of incomes, that is interest Indian income and foreign income. Indian income we have already defined, and foreign income we have already discussed. Now we will go to the rates of individual rates in respect of individual whose age is less than or equal to 60 years, or individual or HUF whose age is less than or equal to 60 years, or association of persons, body of individuals, artificial judicial person, whether incorporated or not, whether they can be resident or non-resident. If the total income is up to 2,50,000 rupees, the tax rate is nil. Up to means less than or equal to 2,50,000 rupees. If the total income is more than 2,50,000 rupees but less than or equal to 5 lakh rupees, the rate of tax that is applicable is 5%. If the total income is more than 5 lakh rupees but less than or equal to 10 lakh rupees, the rate of tax that is applicable is 20%. If the total income is more than 10 lakh rupees, the rate of tax that is applicable is 30%. These are the tax rates that are applicable for an individual who is less than or equal to 60 years of age. And there is one of the judgment that has been given by the Supreme Court. If the individual whose age is more than or equal, whose 60th birthday or 80th birthday falls under one fourth of the relevant assessment year, then he will be considered as attained the age of 60 years or 80 years by 31st March of the previous year, and he can claim the higher exemption limit applicable for the individual whose age is 60 years or more, or whose age is 80 years or more, as the case may be. This is as per the Supreme Court judgment. Now we will go to second category of incomes, that is individual whose age is more than or equal to 60 years but less than or more than or equal to 60 years but less than 80 years, or whose individual and HUF and association of persons and body of individuals. For association of persons and body of individuals, higher exemption limit is not applicable. It is applicable for only individual and HUF whose age it is only applicable for individual only, not HUF also. It is applicable for resident individual whose age is it is not applicable for non-residents also, only resident individual whose age is more than or equal to 60 years. So what are the tax rates that are applicable? If the total income is up to 3 lakh rupees, the tax rate is nil. If the total income is more than 3 lakh rupees but less than or equal to 5 lakh rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 5%. If the total income is more than 5 lakh rupees but less than or equal to 10 lakh rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 20%. If the total income is more than 10 lakh rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 30%. Now we will comes to the third category of tax rates that are applicable for the individual whose age is more than or equal to 80 years, super senior citizens. In this category, resident individual whose age is more than or equal to 80 years, super senior citizens. In this category, we will discuss about. We will comes to what will tax rates that are applicable for this category of individuals. So if the total income is up to 5 lakh rupees, the tax rate is nil. Higher exemption limit of 5 lakh rupees applicable for this category of persons. And if the total income is more than 5 lakh rupees but less than or equal to 10 lakh rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 20%. If the total income is more than 10 lakh rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is what? 30%. 30%. Now we'll for these individuals, for individuals and HUF, for individuals and HUF, association of persons and body of individuals, whether incorporated, for individuals and HUF, section 115 BAC is applicable. Section 115 BAC is optional scheme that has been introduced with Income Tax Act 1961. It is applicable for both resident and non-resident also categories. Optional scheme is applicable. Section 115 BAC, 115 BAC optional scheme is applicable. So what are the taxes that have been mentioned under optional scheme? The taxes that are mentioned under optional scheme are up to 2,50,000 rupees of tax. The tax rate is nil. 2,50,000 rupees to 5 lakh rupees. The tax rate that means more than in total income more than 2,50,000 rupees but up to 5 lakh rupees, tax rate that is applicable is 5%. Total income more than 5 lakh rupees but up to less than or equal to 7,50,000 rupees, tax rate that is applicable is 10%. The total income is more than 7,50,000 rupees but less than or equal to 10 lakh rupees, tax rate that is applicable is 15%. The total income more than 10 lakh rupees but less than or equal to 12,50,000 rupees, tax rate that is applicable is 20%. The total income more than 12,50,000 rupees but less than or equal to 15 lakh rupees, tax rate that is applicable is 25%. The total income more than 15 lakh rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 30%. In case of optional scheme, the person will comes at a 30% slab rate if the total income is more than or equal to more than 15 lakh rupees. Otherwise, he will be under normal slab rates only. Now, in order to this optional scheme is applicable. This optional scheme is applicable for the individual, and he has to sacrifice some of the deductions and some of the exemptions. What are the exemptions and deductions that have been that he has to sacrifice? It has been defined under various heads. First head is what? First head is salary. Under salary, leave travel concession that has been defined under 10 subsection 5. He has 10 subsection 5, and second one is what? Second one is house rent allowance that have been defined under 10 subsection 13A, and third category of exemption that is not available for the SSC is allowances that has been defined under 10 subsection 14 and 10 subsection 14, and he is not section 16 subsection. Section 16 consists of what? Section 16 consists of three types of deductions that are available for the SSC who is under salaries. Those are standard deduction is not available. Second, 50,000 rupees is not available. Entertainment allowance is not available, and professional tax paid is not available. These are the different category of deductions that are available for individual. And what are the exceptions to this head salary? Exceptions to salaries are 4 types of allowances are available. That is, daily allowance is available, transport allowance is available, travel allowance is available, and conveyance allowance is available. Conveyance allowance, transport allowance, travel allowance, travel allowance, and daily allowance. These 4 types of allowances are available. All other allowances are not available for individual in the head salaries. From the head house property, what are not available? From the head house property, so loss from self-occupied property is not available, but loss from demolished let out property or demolished let out property is available in respect of an individual. Means loss from demolished let out property or let out property is available for the individual. Next, from the house property, we have seen from the head profits and gains from business or profession, what are the category of exemptions or category of deductions that are not available from the house from the profits and gains from business or profession. Means the person who has been carrying out business, or the person who has been carrying out profession. What is the definition of business? What is the definition of profession? Profession has been defined under section 44 capital A of the Income Tax Act capital A of Income Tax Act 1961. All these category of professions are included in the definition. Category of occupations are included in the definition of profession. Next, what is the definition of business? Business has been defined under the Income Tax Act 1961. So, what are the category of exemption deductions that are not available? Those are additional depreciation that is available for the SSC who is carrying out business or profession that has been defined under section 32 subsection 1 capital 2A. Next, investment allowance that is available for the individual, investment allowance that is available for the assessee under 32 AD, and third one is tea, coffee, rubber deduction that is available for the assessee under 33 AB, 33 ABA. Fourth one is scientific expenditure reduction that is available for the assessee, which is 100% under 35 subsection 1 35 subsection 1 clause 2. Clause 2 consists of any contribution to research association, institute, college which is carrying out scientific research. 35 subsection 1 clause 2a, where any contribution that has been made to research association, institute or college for carrying out social and statistical research. And 35 subsection 1 clause 3, that is any contribution that has been made for Indian company that is carried out research and development expenditure. 35 subsection capital 2 capital A, that is any contribution that has been made to the Indian Institute of Technology or National Laboratory that is carrying out scientific research. And for this four category of contributions, deduction at the rate of 100% is available for the assessee, but the person who has opted for section 115 BAC, these deductions are not available. Next 33 investment deduction that is available for the assessee, that is specified companies, specified businesses investment deduction 100% is not available. That is defined under 35 AD. Next family pension has been given under section 57 subsection 1. Family pension is not available, and the person will not get, the person will not be eligible to, he is not eligible to what? He is not eligible to set off the losses that are carried forward from previous years. All these losses will be lapsed, and he will in respect of additional depreciation can be set off against any other income. But from those additional depreciation, unabsorbed additional depreciation, not unabsorbed depreciation. From that unabsorbed depreciation has been categorized into two categories. That is normal depreciation that is unabsorbed, and additional depreciation that is unabsorbed. Normal depreciation that is unabsorbed can be allowed to set off against any other income, but normal depreciation, but the additional depreciation that is unabsorbed will be not allowed to set off. It has to be added to the income of the assessee, while the assessee has opted for section 115 BAC. Next, when comes to in respect of other sources, in respect of capital gains, there is nothing much that need to be sacrificed by the assessee. But in respect of deductions, chapter 6A deductions, all chapter 6A deductions from 80C to 80C to 80U, 80 TTA, 80 TTB as a case may be, or 80U are not available for the assessee, except three deductions that are available for the assessee. Means exceptions to chapter 6A, three deductions are available to assessee even the assessee has opted for section 115 BAC. Those are 80M is intercorporate dividend, 80M that is intercorporate dividend, 80M. Next 80JJAA is additional employment deduction, that is 30% that is available. Additional employee cost 30% is available for the assessee. Next 80LA is offshore business deduction, that is 100% of profits will be allowed as deduction for 10 previous years out of 15 previous years available for the assessee preceding the relevant previous year. It is allowed as deduction under 80LA. These three category of deductions are available if the person or assessee has opted for section 115 BAC. Now the person who has opted for section 115 BAC, he will not be eligible for any AMT. AMT is not applicable. AMT means what? AMT means alternative minimum tax. So alternative minimum tax is applicable for the assessee. It has been defined under section 115 JC. What is the, if the person whose income that is calculated from the income tax is less than or equal to tax on 15% of 18.5% of the book profits of the assessee, then tax on 18.5% of the book profits of the assessee has to be adjusted total income has to be paid to the government. This 18.5% of the total income, adjusted total income. What is adjusted total income? Adjusted total income means normal total income adjusted with 8 adjustments, then it is adjusted total income. So adjusted total income in respect of an individual which has established in IFSC center, then the AMT rate that is applicable is 9%, and in case of cooperative society, AMT rate that is applicable is 15% instead of 18.5%. 18.5%. This AMT credit is not allowed to be set off against any other tax liability that is available for the assessee. Means AMT credit will be lapsed. What is AMT credit? AMT credit means if at any time if the tax that is determined under alternative minimum tax is more than tax that is determined under normal provisions of income tax and 1961, then tax that is determined under alternative minimum tax has to be paid to the government, and whatever the difference between alternative minimum tax and tax that is determined under the normal provisions of income tax 1961 is considered as AMT credit. This AMT credit is allowed by the assessee that can be carried forward for 15 assessment years, and that can be set off against any other tax liability. What is this is AMT credit. This is AMT credit. AMT credit is not available for the assessee if the assessee has opted for section 115 BAC. So wise option that is available for the assessee is, if there is any AMT credit that is available for the assessee, first exhaust all the AMT credit that is available for the assessee, then only opt for section 115 BAC. Next, when the assessee has to opt for what is the timing for opting of section 115 BAC? The person can opt for section 115 BAC only at any time during the previous year, but he has to, if the individual is an employee, here individual is employee, salaried person. If the individual is carrying out business or profession, if the individual is salaried person or salaried person, then in that situation he has intimate to the employer under section 192 has intimate to the employer that he is opting for section 115 BAC or 115 BAC. But even though he has opted for section 115, he has intimated to the employer that he is opting for section 115 BAC, he can pay tax under normal provisions also, even though TDS is deducted as per section 115 BAC. It is no problem is available, but this option can be the assessee can opt for section 115 BAC every year. Means for example, if the assessee has opt for section 115 BAC for the current previous year, then for the next previous year he can go for normal provisions if normal provisions are beneficial to him. If in the next year also, if the next previous year also, if the provisions under 115 BAC are beneficial to him, then he can opt for section 115 BAC. There is no compulsory obligation on the assessee that he has to compulsory pay tax under 115 BAC once he opts for section 115 BAC. Unlike it is applicable in respect of any other persons. Next is if the assessee who is carrying out business or profession. If the assessee who is carrying out business or profession in this category, if the person has opted for section 115 BAC for the relevant previous year, then he has to opt for section 115 BAC for all the previous years succeeding the relevant previous year. If the person has not opted for section 115 BAC, then in the succeeding previous years, then he cannot opt for section 115 BAC for up to five previous years succeeding the relevant previous year where he has not opted for section 115 BAC. He cannot return back to this 115 BAC scheme again for 5 assessment years. That is applicable in respect of section 44 AD, 44 ADA as the case may be. Now Section 10AA deduction is also not available for assessee. That is special economic zone exemption not available for the assessee. Now we will go to tax rates that are applicable. What other persons? Tax rates that are applicable for other persons. Other persons includes what? Other persons includes first partnership firm. First we will discuss about surcharge and health and education cess and debate that is applicable for individual and HUF. First we will go to surcharge. Surcharge means what? Surcharge means tax on tax. Means this is tax that is leviable on tax liability of the individual or HUF. So surcharge rates that are applicable for individual. This is divided into 2 categories. Surcharge rates that are applicable for the individual, normal income and special rate income. For normal income, surcharge rate that is applicable is if the total income which includes normal income, special rates income, if it is up to 50 lakh rupees, no surcharge rate is applicable. If it exceeds 50 lakh rupees but up to 1 crore rupees, surcharge rate that is applicable is 10%. If it exceeds 1 crore rupees but up to 2 crore rupees, surcharge rate that is applicable is 15%. If it exceeds 2 crore rupees but up to 5 crore rupees, surcharge rate that is applicable is 25%. If it exceeds to 5 crore rupees, surcharge rate that is applicable is 37%. Means the highest surcharge rate that is applicable for the individual is only if the total income, which includes normal income and income from special categories, exceeds 5 crore rupees. Now, in respect of, there is one exception to this. Exception is what? Exception is if the assessee has income from 4 categories. 4 categories are what? Income from 111A, income from 112A, income from 112, income from dividend. What is 111A? 111A is short-term capital gain on transfer of equity shares and listed equity shares and listed equity oriented mutual funds, and 111A one that is tax rate that is applicable is 15%, and 112 is what 112 is income from income long term capital gain that is arising from transfer of listed equity shares and listed equity oriented mutual funds. This exemption limit that is available is 1 lakh rupees. The tax rate that is applicable for this category of income is 10%. Consistent tax rate of 10%. Next 112 is long term capital gain on transfer of long term capital asset. Long term cap, what is meant by long term capital gain? What is meant by long term capital asset? Long term capital asset has been defined under the income tax act 1960 under capital gain chapter. An asset here long term capital asset. Capital asset has been given, definition has been given under section 45. This is section 45 series or in capital gain chapter. There we will discuss about long term, what is meant by long term capital gain, what is meant by long term capital asset, what is meant by capital asset, what is meant by period of holding, all we will discuss here. And next we will comes to the tax rate that is applicable for long term capital gain under 112 is 20%. Next category is dividend. Dividend that is received by the individual is taxed at normal rates. At normal rates, the maximum surcharge rate that is applicable for this four category of special category of incomes is what? This special category of incomes is only 15%. For other category of incomes, the tax rate that is applicable is normal surcharge rates are applicable. For this category of incomes, the maximum surcharge rate that is applicable is only 15%. Maximum 15%. Now, other category of special category of incomes are income that is available for the individual under 115B. 115B is what? In winnings from lotteries, crossword puzzles, horse races, lotteries, crossword puzzles, card games. The tax rate that is applicable is 30%. Tax rate that is applicable is 30% in respect of 115BB, that is income that is arising from horse races. Tax rate that is applicable is 30%. Section 115 BB, section 115 triple B. Section 115 triple B is what? Section 115 triple B is turnkey power projects. Turnkey power projects concession rate that is available is 5%. Tax rate that is available is 5%. Section 115 BB, 115 triple B, 115 BBC. 115 BBC is anonymous donations. Anonymous donations are taxable at the rate of 30%. What are considered as anonymous donations? What income is what portion of anonymous donations is taxable at the rate of 30% means they have been given one procedure. What is procedure? You have to consider 5% of the total donations or 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher is considered as anonymous. Whichever is higher is exempt from taxing at the rate of 30%. So here 5% of total donation. Total donations consists of about 3 categories of donations. That is 3 category of donations. What are 3 category of donations? 3 category of donations are normal donations, which includes government grants, and corpus donations, which have been donated for specified purpose, and third one is anonymous donations. These 3 category of donations will be included in total donations. 5% of these total donations are 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher is considered as anonymous, whichever is considered as normal donation, which are taxed at normal rates, and amount which is excess of this amount that has been determined is considered as anonymous donations that are taxable at the rate of 30%. Next 115 BBC, 115 BBD. 115 BBD is dividend income that has been received by the non-resident who is having substantial interest from the specified entities. Substantial interest means if he is having more than or equal to 26% of the voting power in any company, then he is said to be having substantial interest. If any dividend income that has been received from these companies, then it is taxed at a concessional rate of 15%. 15%. No other expenditure is allowed against this income, against this dividend income, except interest expenditure that is allowed up to maximum of 20% that has been incurred for earning of this income. Now earning of this income. Next section 115 BBD. Section 115 BB is what? Section 115 BB is income that has been escaped, income that has been undisclosed, tax on undisclosed income. Undisclosed income can be from various categories. Section 68, Section 68A, Section 68, Section 68A, Section 68B, Section 68D, Section 68C, Section 68D, Section 68E, Section 60 that is undisclosed investments, undisclosed contributions, undisclosed that is unexplained expenditure, or drawings from hundi. drawings from hundi. All these category of incomes are defined. All these category of incomes are undisclosed income. These are taxable at 78%, highest rate of 78%. That is 60% of tax plus 25% of surcharge plus 4% of health and education cess. That is 78%. It is taxable at 78%. Now this is section 115 BBE, 115 BBE, 115 BBF. 115 BBF is royalty income, tax on royalty income. The royalty income from patents. This is taxable at the rate of 10%, constitutional rate of 10%. No expenditure is allowed against this income. When that is a substantial portion of expenditure has to be incurred in India. Means what is meant by substantial portion of expenditure? Means 75% or more of the expenditure has to be incurred in India. Then only the royalty income that is available, that is arising from the patent, that is registered in India, is exempt under section is taxable at the rate of constitutional rate of 10% under section 115 BBF. 115 BBG. 115 BBE is the income arising from the transfer of carbon credits. Carbon credits is taxable at the rate of constitutional rate of 10%. No expenditure is allowed against this income. Allowed a deduction against this income. Next 115 GG 115 BBH. 115 BBH is a tax on cryptocurrencies or virtual digital assets. What is the meaning of virtual digital asset? Meaning of virtual digital asset means virtual digital asset includes any token, any information, any code, any formula, any token, either Indian other than Indian currency or foreign currency, which has been generated from cryptographic means or any cryptographic means, and which can be stored or which can be transferred, which can be traded through stock exchanges. Through stock exchanges is considered as virtual digital asset. It also includes what? It also includes any other cryptocurrencies, and it also includes any other cryptocurrencies, and it also includes tokens. It also includes tokens also. Tokens also included in virtual digital assets. This is VDA, virtual digital asset. The tax that is applicable on transfer of income arising from virtual digital asset is 30%. 30%. What is income? Income means full consideration that has been received minus cost of acquisition. No other expenditure is allowed as deduction against the income that is arising from transfer of virtual digital assets. So this is taxable at the rate of 30% under section 115 BBH. Next 115 BBI. 115 BBI is what? 115 BBI. Section 115 BBI. We will discuss later. Section 115 BBI. Now these are special category of income that are available for individual or HUF, as the case may be. These are taxed at the rates that are available in respect of those incomes. And in this category of income, for this category of incomes, surcharge rate that is applicable is normal surcharge rate that is applicable for normal income. Normal income is applicable. Next, health and education cess for all category of incomes, for all category of persons, for all category of incomes. Health and education cess is applicable at the rate of 4% flat rate. Next, we will comes to rebate that is available for the individual. If the total income of individual or HUF is up to 5 lakh rupees, or resident individual whose total income is up to 5 lakh, it is not applicable for HUF. Resident individual whose total income is up to 5 lakh rupees during the previous year, then for him, what is the resident individual for where the total income is up to 5 lakh rupees, then for him, what is the rate that is applicable for this individual is rate that is applicable for this individual is resident individual whose total income is up to 5 lakh rupees is rebate that is available is income tax that is calculated on those income, or 12,500 rupees, whichever is lower is allowed as rebate for this individual. Rebate under 87 capital A. Rebate is not available in respect of what? Rebate is not available for non-resident. It is applicable for only resident individual only. Next category of persons is partnership firm. Partnership firm LLP, local authority. Partnership firm has been, what is partnership firm? Partnership firm can be either a firm that has been came into existence by partnership by way of partnership deed or by way of any other means. It is considered as partnership firm. And local authority LLP, limited liability partnership means partnership company that has been registered under Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008 is limited liability partnership, and local authority authority for all this category of persons. The income that is the tax rate that is applicable is 12%. 30%. Tax rate that is applicable is 30% on the income that is arising from this from partnership firm, from limited liability partnership and local authority. And for this category of persons, the surcharge that is category of persons, the surcharge that is applicable is 12%. If the income is up to 1 crore rupees, there is no surcharge. If the income exceeds 1 crore rupees, the surcharge rate that is applicable is 12%. And health and medical insurance that is applicable for all this category of persons is that 4%. 4%. Next category of persons is what? Next category of persons is companies. Companies are divided into two categories: Indian income for Indian companies, foreign companies. Indian companies has been defined under the Income Tax Act. Indian company consists of two categories of companies. First one is companies which are being incorporated under Companies Act 2013 are considered as Indian companies. And second category of companies are companies which have made arrangements for companies which have made arrangements for declaration of dividend are called as Indian companies. Companies which have made arrangements for declaration of dividend are considered as Indian companies. Next, considered as Indian companies. Now we will talk about foreign companies. Foreign companies has been companies that are not considered as Indian companies other than Indian companies or foreign companies. So the taxes that are applicable for Indian companies, this depends upon the turnover that is applicable for the company. If the turnover of the company is up to 400 crore rupees, in the previous year 2021-22, then for those companies the tax rate that is applicable is 25%. For other category of companies the tax rate that is applicable is 30%. And for foreign companies, for Indian companies, what are the surcharge rates that are applicable? Domestic companies, for surcharge rate that is applicable is if the total income is up to 1 crore rupees, there is no surcharge rate that is applicable. If the total income exceeds 1 crore rupees but up to 10 crore rupees, the surcharge rate that is applicable is 7%. The total income exceeds 10 crore rupees, the surcharge rate that is applicable is 12%. In respect of the health and medical insurance that is applicable for these companies is 4% flat rate. Now for foreign companies, what is the tax rate that is applicable? Tax rate that is applicable is 40%. And what are the surcharge rates that are applicable? Surcharge rates that are applicable. Foreign partnership firm, the tax rate that is applicable is 30%. For foreign company, for tax rate that is applicable is 40%. What are the surcharge rates that are applicable? Surcharge rates that are applicable are if the total income is up to 1 crore rupees, there is no surcharge rate. There is no surcharge. If the total income exceeding 1 crore rupees but up to 10 crore rupees, the surcharge rate that is applicable is what? The surcharge rate that is applicable is 2%. If the total income exceeds 10 crore rupees, the surcharge rate that is applicable is 5%. And the health and medical cess that is applicable for this category of persons is 4% flat rate. Now this is companies. We have discussed about companies also, and then we will go to tax rates that are applicable for companies also. We have discussed the tax rates that are applicable for cooperative societies. So cooperative societies, what are the tax rates that are applicable for cooperative societies? Before going to tax rates that are applicable for cooperative societies, we will go to optional schemes that are available for companies. There is domestic companies. For the domestic companies, two optional schemes are available. Section 115 BBA. 115 BAA and 115 BAB. 115 BAA is the optional scheme that is applicable for all type of companies, whether old companies or new companies, and whether they are service oriented or manufacturing oriented. And for these companies, the concessional rate of tax that is applicable is 22% of tax rate plus 10% of surcharge, 10% of flat surcharge, and health and medical insurance at the rate of 4% is applicable. That effective rate that is applicable for this category of companies is 25.168%. And in order to get this concessional rate of 22%, the company has to sacrifice some of the deductions. So those are the deductions that are available for under PGVP for house property. Obviously, house property loss, self-occupied, there is no self-occupied. There will be house property. For self-occupied loss will not be available for the companies. Obviously, deemed letter property or deemed letter property loss only. Deemed letter property or letter property loss can be available as deduction under Income Tax Act. Now, in respect of salaries will not be available for companies. So will comes to PGVP income, profits and gains from business or profession. Obviously, profits business has been defined under respective acts and Income Tax Act, and profession has been defined under profession. Companies will not have profession, companies will have business only. Now will comes to the incomes, the deductions that are not available. Those are additional depreciation that is available under 32 subsection 1 capital 2A will not be available at the rate of 20%. Now second one is deduction deductions that are available under section 33AB, 33ABA, that is 33AB, 33ABA, that is tea coffee rubber reduction is not available. Now we will comes to third category of tea coffee rubber reduction is not available, and third category of deduction is deduction under 32AD, investment allowance is not available. Deduction under 35 subsection 1 capital 2 capital 2A 35 subsection 1 capital 2 capital subsection 2 clause 3 clause 2 clause 3 clause 3 clause 2 clause 2A clause 3 clause 2 2AA 2AA and 2AB. 35 subsection 1 clause 2, obviously you have seen contribution that has been made to research association, institute or research association, college or institute for carrying out scientific research. 35 subsection 1 clause 2A is contribution that has been made to research contribution that has been made to research association, institute, college for carrying out social and statistical research. 35 subsection 1 clause 2A. 35 subsection 1 clause 3 is clause 3 is what? Clause 3 is contribution that has been made to Indian company or Indian company or institute for carrying out social and statistics for carrying out scientific research. 35 subsection 1 2AA is any contribution that has been made to Indian Institute of Technology or National Laboratory for carrying out scientific research. 35 subsection 1 clause 2A. And 35 2AB is what? That 35 2AB is any contribution that has been made for biotech company that have been engaged in biotechnology business. So for all this category of persons, for all this category of contributions, deduction that is available is 100%. But if the company has opted for section 115 BAA, then for this category of companies, this deduction is not available. 35 deduction under 35 series is not available. Next, deduction under 35 AD. 35 AD is what? 35 AD is specified companies, investment in specified companies, deduction is not available. Next, 35 next, deductions that are available. Section 10 AA is not available for these companies. Next, now we will comes to deductions. Chapter 60 deductions. Chapter 60 deductions. All deductions that are available from 80CT, 80U are not available. 80TTA, 80TTB, 80U are not available for companies, except two deductions, three deductions that are available. Three deductions are 80JJJ additional employment deduction is available at the rate of 30%. 80M intercorporate dividend deduction is available for companies, and 80LA is what? 80LA is offshore profits deduction is available for companies. Now we will discuss about what now we will comes to MAT related provisions. So MAT is minimum alternative tax that has been defined under section 115JB. What is defined under section 115? What is discussed under section 115JB? Under 115JB, it has been discussed that if the company has determined the income tax liability under the provisions of Income Tax Act, which is less than 15% tax on 15% of the book profits of the company, then the company has to pay tax at the rate of 15% of the book profits of the company. Book profits means book profit that has been there is separate procedure that has been explanation to section 115JB consists of the procedure that has to calculate book profits, and whatever the book profit that has been calculated, 15% of the book profits has to be offered as income to the income tax department, and tax on this 15% of the book profits will be considered as a minimum alternative tax. This minimum alternative tax has to be paid to government if the normal income tax is less than minimum alternative tax. If the normal income tax is more than minimum alternative tax, then normal income tax has to be offered to the government as has to be paid to the government as a income tax liability by the companies. And what is MAT credit? If the companies that have opted for section 115 BAA, then MAT is not available for these companies. MAT credit that is available for the companies will become slab. So what is MAT credit that is available for a company? So MAT credit that is available means MAT is what? Minimum MAT credit is not what MAT credit means. If at any time if the tax that is minimum alternative tax is more than the income tax liability, then the companies are required to pay the tax under MAT. Then the difference between MAT and income tax liability will consider as MAT credit, and this MAT credit can be allowed to set off against the future income tax liabilities, future situations where the income tax liability is more than minimum alternative tax, and difference between income tax liability and MAT minimum alternative tax, the difference will be that the excess amount can be allowed to set off with the MAT credit in the subsequent years or subsequent previous years regarding subsequent future income tax liabilities, and this can be carried forward for 15 assessment years. The company will get 15 assessment years or 15 assessment years following the relevant assessment year for the adjustment or for set off. Now if the company has wise option that is available for the company, if the company has MAT credit is exhaust the MAT credit completely, then opt for section 115 BAA, otherwise MAT credit will be lapsed. Now it will comes to special losses that are available. Whatever the losses that have been carried forward from the previous years will get lapsed. Entire losses will be lapsed, except additional depreciation, except unabsorbed depreciation. Unabsorbed depreciation is divided into two categories. That is unabsorbed depreciation that is related to normal depreciation, unabsorbed depreciation that is related to additional depreciation. Unabsorbed depreciation that is related to normal depreciation will be allowed to set off against the income, but unabsorbed depreciation relating to additional depreciation cannot be allowed to set off. It will be added back to the income. Next, if the company has opted for section 115 BAA for the previous year, then the company is required to opt for section 115 BAA for all the relevant previous years and all the future previous years succeeding the relevant previous year. There is no other option that is available for the company. Once opted is always opted. If the company has opt out from 115 BAA for any relevant previous year, the company will never cannot opt for section 115 BAA in its lifetime. Once opt out is always opt out. It can never come back to section 115 BAA. Next, the company when the company is required to opt for section 115 BAA optional scheme, the company is required to opt for section 115 BAA optional scheme. It has to opt to the scheme before the due date of furnishing of return of income under 139 subsection 1. What is the due date for furnishing of return of income for companies for 139 subsection 1 is 31st October of the relevant assessment year. If the companies are bound by the transfer pricing provisions, 30th November of the relevant assessment year. What is transfer pricing? Transfer pricing will be encountered under transfer pricing provisions under non-resident taxation. Transfer pricing provisions will encounter transfer pricing. What is meant by transfer pricing and all. Now we will discuss about section 115 BAB. Section 115 BA is exclusively applicable for new companies, and that too companies which are engaged in manufacturing or production of articles of things. Section 115 BAB is applicable, and 115 BAB is applicable, and for other category of companies section 115 BAA is not applicable. Not 115 BAB means old companies and companies which are formed under reconstruction or amalgamation or reconstruction of existing companies, or companies which have formed with old plant and machinery, and companies which are engaged in service oriented industries. All this type of companies section 115 BAA is applicable, not 115 BAB. Next, companies which are formed on or after 1/10/2019, after 1/10/2019, and these companies are required to commence its operations before 31st March 2024 in order to opt for section 115 BAB. 115 BAB. What is the tax rate that is applicable? Tax rate that is applicable is 15% plus surcharge flat rate of 10% plus health and expenses at the rate of 4%. That is effective rate is something. Effective rate comes out to be 17 point something rate that is applicable. Effective rate, let's calculate what is the effective rate that is applicable for companies which has opted for section 115 BAB. Effective rate that is applicable is 15% of tax plus 110% of surcharge plus 104% of health and expenses. That is 17.16%. 17.16% is the effective tax rate that is applicable for companies which have opted for section 115 BAB. Now I have remembered section 115 BBI. We have forgotten. Section 115 BBI we have taken that it will be considered later. Now we will discuss section 115 BBI is what 115 BBI is the accredited tax that is applicable for the trust. What is accredited tax? Accredited tax that is applicable for trust is accredited tax that is applicable for trust is on accredited income. Accredited income tax rate is 30% of tax. 30% of tax plus 30% of tax plus 20% of surcharge plus health and expenses at the rate 12% of surcharge plus health and expenses at the rate of 4%. That is 30% plus 112% into 104%. That is 34.944%. That is applicable for the on accredited income. What is accredited income? Accredited income is total assets minus total liabilities as accredited income. This accredited tax section 115 BBI is applicable at the rate of 34.944% for charitable trusts which have not fulfilled the conditions that have been mentioned under 12AA, 12AB, and which have opted out, which have made contributions to the trusts which are not registered at 12AA, 12AB. Next, for these companies, accredited tax is for this charitable trust. Accredited tax is applicable 115 BBI. Now we'll comes to section 115 BAB. What are the deductions that need to be sacrificed in order to opt for section 115 BAB? Deductions that are required to be opt out are obviously whatever the deductions that are that are required to be sacrificed under 115 BAA. Same deductions will be applicable for section 115 BAB also, except under chapter 6A. Under chapter 6A, 2 deductions are available for the companies under 115 BAB. Those are additional employment deduction, 115 BAB. Also, obviously 3 deductions that are available: 80JJAA, second one is 80LA, third one is 80M. Next, these all other conditions will be similar only. Whatever the conditions that are applicable for section 115 BAA, same conditions will be applicable for section 115 BAB. But in respect of 115 BAB, one special category of condition is if the 115 BAB companies has manufacturing income and another income, that is house property income, or it can be other sources income. This manufacturing income is taxable at the rate of what? At the rate of 15% of tax plus 10% of such as health and medical expenses at the rate of 4%. But other category of income other than manufacturing income is taxable at the rate of 22% of tax plus 10% of surcharge plus health and medical expenses at the rate of 4%. And capital gain income obviously taxable at the capital at the special rate that are applicable for capital gain income, long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain, as the case may be. Now other category. Now this is the special point that is applicable for the companies which have opted for section 115 BAB. Now will comes to next category of person. Next category of person is cooperative societies. For cooperative societies, what is the tax rate that are applicable? For total income up to 10,000 rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 10%. The total income exceeding 10,000 rupees but up to 20,000 rupees, tax rate that is applicable is 20%. The total income exceeding 20,000 rupees, the tax rate that is applicable is 30%. And this cooperative societies are these cooperative societies. When we discuss about cooperative societies, they also have an optional scheme that is applicable and that is defined under section 115 BAD, that is bad. Cooperative societies, for cooperative societies that are the tax rate that is applicable is which have opted for section 115 BAD, tax rate that is applicable is 10%, 22% of tax plus 10% of surcharge plus 4% of health and medical expenses. These cooperative societies, or for these cooperative societies, obviously AMT is not applicable, MAT is applicable, and whatever the AMT credit that is applicable for cooperative societies will get lapsed. Will get lapsed once it has opted for section 115 BAD, and this cooperative societies will also not available for any deductions or exemptions that are discussed under section 115 BAA. Same category of exemption deductions will not be available for section 115 BAD cooperative societies also. Next, the cooperative societies, for the cooperative societies, the deductions that are available are 80JJAA deduction is available, 80 LEA deduction is available, but not ATM. ATM, this is intercompany corporate dividend is applicable for only companies only. For cooperative societies, it is not applicable. Means ATM is not available. ATM will be redundant or inapplicable for 80 BAD section 115 BAD cooperative societies. Now for 115 BAD cooperative societies and specific we have discussed about cooperative societies. Now we will comes to other category of special category of incomes. For which tax rate that is applicable, we have already discussed this category of incomes. Section 112, 112A, 112A, 111A, and 111A and short-term application. Normal short-term is taxable at the rate of 30%. Now we will discuss about maximum marginal rate. Maximum marginal rate that is applicable is 30% of tax plus 37% of surcharge plus 4% of health and medical expenses. Entire tax that is applicable is 30% of tax plus 37% of surcharge plus 4% of health and medical expenses. That is total tax rate that is applicable is 42.744%. That is applicable. That is maximum marginal rate. So for under various situations we will use the term maximum marginal rate. This is maximum marginal rate. What is the definition of rates in force? Rates in force in respect of non-resident, we will use the term rates in force. Rates in force means rates that are as per Income Tax Act or rates as per DTAA. Whichever is beneficial to the assessee is rates in force, or whichever is lower, whichever is beneficial to the assessee is rates in force. Whichever is beneficial to the assessee is rates in force. Now we will comes to what we will discuss about. These all are the introduction chapter and residential status introduction chapter, and what are the tax rates that are applicable for individual individual for all category of persons, for all category of persons. Here one thing we have to remember is what we have to remember here. One thing is in respect of the concept relating to the concept that is relating to marginal tax benefit. Marginal tax benefit is what? Marginal tax benefit is if the person whose income is more than 1 crore rupees or more than 2 crore rupees or more than 5 crore rupees by nominal amount of limit, then excess tax if the excess tax is more than excess income, then he will get the marginal tax benefit. Marginal tax benefit is excess tax minus excess income is marginal relief benefit is available. This is considered as marginal relief that is applicable for individual. And tax on agricultural income provision is there, tax on agricultural income, but it has been redundant in nowadays it is not applicable for the persons. This is entirely the discussion relating to introduction and residential status. Okay, thank you for patience listening. Bye, see you.